This is the Earth Science Classroom. Welcome back to the channel. So, welcome back to the channel. It's the Earth Science Classroom. We're in environmental science doing agriculture. Now, agriculture is a fantastic topic to do with students. In my case, I have juniors and seniors in high school. And what we're doing basically is a simple lab, a simple activity of taking some soil that we gathered from the local area near the high school. And we're also going to use some soil that we can get from Home Depot or Lowe's, some topsoil. I'm going to use this to grow a tomato slice or tomato slice and some seeds, and then observe and document what happens over the coming days as these organic material, as the tomato slices and seeds are going to germinate and grow, and hopefully in 7 to 14 days we'll have some growth to observe from these samples. So the point of using two different soils is looking at the composition, the nutrient levels, and the soil quality in regards to growing or germinating this fruit, in this case tomato. And you can use other fruits as well, like lemons or cucumbers or anything with seeds, but tomato seems to work pretty well. It's going to add in, it's using this kind of like container, plastic, obviously transparent, so we can see what's going on with the soil there. Now, so we have our slices of tomato or tomato, and what we're going to do is be very careful to make some space on the side inside your soil. Carefully place the tomato and have it flush up against the plastic side so you can see it, and then very carefully reorganize the soil so it's going to allow the tomato to be up against the glass, the plastic side, so we can observe and clearly see what happens in the coming days. So just going to do this. So what we have is this clear, get a bit more on this side, cover it up. Nice little, about a few centimeters to an inch of layer on top. There we go. So we have this situation right here, where we have the tomato flush against it. You can also take one of the seeds from the slice, and we can use it on the other side. So let's turn this around, just put this on the other side. Put some seeds in there, again, cover it up with some soil on the other side. So we have one side with the slice, the other side with the seeds from the same tomato or tomato, and then just nice and easy, it's going to add some water, a little splash of water, set things off, and just label your lid so you know which one's which with the soil, and voila, put it to one side. Then we can work on our topsoil. Do the same thing again. Just add in our nice topsoil and get the same amount of soil for each type. Try and keep it as close as we can, as to increase the chance of a fair comparison between the two soil types. Make some space. We have our tomato slice. Right here. So we have it flush again against the side of the container. Similar amount, a couple of centimeters to an inch above. And we can also add in on the other side, add in our lovely seeds. Again, just cover it up with the soil, voila. Again, a little splash of water. Make sure it's labeled. And then we are good to go. So the point of this lab activity for our seniors and juniors in environmental science for agriculture is to mainly observe the germination process, the natural process of growing crops in soil, looking at different types of soil, the soil composition, the soil quality, the soil type in terms of soil order, discuss the climate, discuss the nutrients, discussing the flow of decomposition from the slices and directly from the seed germination, comparing the time it takes to germinate and grow based on the slice or the seed and the different types of soil as well. You can add more variations with fertilizer, with different types of soil, with less or more water. So your independent variables can change whatever you want. We're just using a very straightforward, simple experiment and growth activity with the local soil and the topsoil with the tomato slice. Again, you can use other fruits as long as they have seeds for germination, and it takes between 5 to 12 days to hopefully see some results. I'm going to put it over by the windowsill over there in the classroom, water it when needed, and then observe, and we can discuss with the students all different types of elements of soil science, crops, agriculture, tilling, and just a fantastic lab to do with the kids. They get their hands dirty, they go and collect the soil, they are going to plant and see the germination, make observations, calculations, and hopefully see the results. From planting these 2 tomatoes in the local soil and topsoil, we're going to look at the growth over the coming days up to day 20, where we're comparing these 2 soil types and the growth of the tomato plus the tomato seeds that we'll put on the opposite side of the slice. As you can see from both soil types, it took about 8 days for the decomposition of both the slices to occur within the soil, but you had the faster growth from the seed occur, and you had some sprouts and some new vegetation coming from the seeds rather than the actual slice itself. After about 2 weeks, you start to see some growth out of the actual slice. And on the other side, with the seeds, you have full germination and growth of new tomato plants coming out from the surface of the both local soil and topsoil. After 2 weeks of this experiment with the tomato slice and seeds planted in the 2 types of soil and put in the classroom on the windowsill exposed to the sunlight with some water added, you have these 2 pretty awesome observations you can take from this experiment, which is the amount of growth and pattern of growth between the 2 types of soil. Now, local soil was just from the local forest near the high school, and the topsoil was from a bag you can buy from a hardware store like Home Depot or Lowe's. Now, the growth is definitely different between them. The local soil has more vegetation growth and biomass generally on the surface, with minimal growth from the slice but more growth from the seeds. However, the topsoil is an obvious difference. It had a lot more growth from the slice and from the seed, which grew out of the surface of the soil, but minimal growth in between that, which is definitely curious and allows the students to conclude on this and observe for themselves what could happen to. So this straightforward lab activity of growing tomato slices and seeds is fantastic for the classroom because all the kids are involved. They are observing, they are analyzing, they are getting their hands dirty, literally, and applying this to many different topics within environmental science, such as soil science and the soil quality, the nutrients, the water flow, leaching, the cation capacity of its soil, the root uptake, the biomass growth, looking at ecosystems, looking at bacteria in the soil for helping to grow this fruit. You can also apply it to looking at different fruits and different crops, looking at agriculture, irrigation, even discuss modern techniques of tilling or non-tilling the soil. You can also add in the addition of fertilizers as a variable. You can add different control variables into the experiment. You can decrease or increase the length of the experiment. Or you can even look at the scientific method and how to apply this to the experiment, and looking at the hypothesis, looking at the experiment, the data, the analysis, and then conclusions, and working off what happens in the experiment to further future experiments and future lab activities. So as long as you have a windowsill, you have light, you have the ability to have these containers in your classroom, you're able to oversee them for 2 to 3 weeks. This lab is fantastic for any environmental science classroom and for any level. This is the Earth Science Classroom. Thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate it. And if you get a chance to like and subscribe, that stuff really helps the channel. Thank you so much. And see you again in a future video.